Hey guys, Chaina here again. I know it's been a while, but PoE2 is pretty awesome, and I've been playing Totem Warrior, so I'm gonna go over my build. But before we get into that, I'm gonna show you a T15 Breach just so you guys could see the build. All right, let's get into it.
Crush them!
Love the breach density. It's just a really good way to level right now. It's just getting breach tablets and just getting as many breaches on open maps as you can, especially when you get to these higher levels. I'm level 92 right now. Stuff over here. So yeah, pretty cool build. Decent clear speed for maps, not too expensive. But yeah, let's talk about the build now. I'll go pick up all this stuff later.
In the right hand.
Alright, so in this build, our skills, we are just using Shockwave Totem. That's it. These other skills on my bars, they're just emotes for my skin. I mean, I guess Leap Slam is just sometimes you want it. I don't ever really touch it, but it's good to have on the bar. Ancestral Spirits is from your Ascendancy. These things don't do much, but they tank damage. So they, block stuff and block projectiles and tank damage and keep aggro off you. So you just take less hits when they're out. They also have some buffs and stuff. Nothing crazy. But Shockwave Totem is the big thing here. And yeah, so for the skill gems, we're looking at Brutality for 35 more physical. More is multiplicative, so anything with more damage is more good. Supported skills have 40% less cost. This is pretty important because we're running blood magic, converting all our mana cost to life. And as you can see, mine cost 563 life, and I'm only at about 3k life. So having 40% cost is pretty important. Martial Tempo, 25% more attack speed, just DPS. Supported skills have 50% chance to create Jagged Ground. So this one, your Shock Totem is a slam, so it'll create its own Jagged Ground, and then it'll slam the Jagged Ground, which will create an extra damaging effect. And then for the last one, for maps, we're running Magnified Effect for 40% more area. When I get to bosses, I switch to Concentrated Effect, which is 40% less area, but 50% less area, but 40% more damage. Pretty simple, that's about it. And for our passives, the key passives here are Giant's Blood to dual wield two-handers. You can get +6 melee skills on two-handers, so +12 melee skills is a lot of DPS. Probably the biggest DPS that you will get from anywhere is from this Giant's Blood passive and wearing two-handers. Another one is Resolute Technique. Hits can't be evaded, never deal crits. And the last one that's really important is Blood Magic. Removes all mana. Skill mana cost converted to life cost. And that's about it. We pick up some of the +1 maximum number of summon totems, one here and one here, so we get 3 totems at a time. And then we're just grabbing a bunch of life recovery, defense. So we have this one, 80% increased armor from equipped body armor. That one's really big. 5% life per second. Anything that's life per second is of your max life. So these are really big. But also life regeneration, just increased life regeneration is really good. Some armor nodes. Eventually, I want to also go into this attack damage over here and grab this last +1 max res. That will require level 100. I could probably move some of these out because they're just 10%. But they are life regen, so I really like life regen in this build. I'm running, when I'm all buffed up, I'm moving and have totems out, I'm like 750 life regen per second with 3k max health, so my health goes up really quick. For gems, or jewels, the important things are 20% increased armor, and I mean, just the increased armor, it doesn't have to be 20%. It rolls from 10 to 20, so anything 15 and above is, you know, acceptable. And life regen, once you get armor and life regen on the jewel, if you want to get extra things, max any res is really good. Melee damage, totem damage, attack damage, anything in that area. Totem placement speed could be really good. We have a lot of totem placement speed here. I forgot exactly where it is. Right here. Some totem placement speed, 30% increased. And I think these ones give some too, 20% each. So we're able to just drop a totem, and basically you could dodge roll as you're dropping a totem. Which the beginning of the dodge roll gives you iframes making you invulnerable. So when you're in the big density things, like that breach that I was just doing, you could just drop a totem roll, drop a totem roll, drop a totem roll. When you're surrounded by a lot of things, you won't really get hit for much. And if you do get hit a little bit, your life's going to regen so fast while you're immune and rolling. So that's pretty much the passive tree and the skills. Now we can look at gear. So gear, your weapons are just stat sticks. You want +6 melee skills with low strength requirement. Right now I have 244 strength, so about 80 strength on a weapon is the most I could use because it triples it. Triples the strength requirement when you're using Giant's Blood passive, which allows you to dual wield the two-handers. So +6 with low strength requirement. There are runes that will reduce the strength requirement and convert it to either intellect or dexterity. I don't use those, but that would be the cheaper route, and then you could grab some int and dexterity in your passive tree, so that would be a cheaper route. Another cheaper route is just getting a +4 or a +5 to all skills, but I will say that each one skill point is massive when it comes to DPS. As you can see here, my shockwave totem is 21k, and then as I get 3 out, it's 26k, and then when I actually use magnified for single target, we're getting our totems up to 37. I don't know, it went up to 38 for a second, but somewhere around there. That's just sheet DPS though. There's a lot more to it because of the jagged ground explode. Like every time it slams, it also does a jagged ground. You could look at that in here. So we got the slam DPS 21, and then you got the jagged ground DPS 4.6. Can't really go by those numbers. They're not like accurate, but it kind of gives you an idea. But each totem slamming will proc the jagged ground eruption, so it adds up. So yeah, we just want plus skills on our weapons. low strength requirement. If you could get strength on the weapon, every 1 point of strength is 2 max HP, so that's good. It's extremely expensive right now. I bought these for like 30 exalt, like 3 days into launch, and these things are going for a few divines each now. But you know, it is what it is. So then the rest of your gear is pretty basic. You want to get plus melee skill wherever you get it. You could get +2 on gloves. You could get +3 on an amulet. And that's about it. We want to cap all our res. Going 25 to 30 over is good because it'll help against elemental weakness maps where your resistances are getting lowered. So overcapping your resistances is good. But if you can't afford to do it, then just get your capped res and avoid the elemental weakness maps. If you see that mod on a map, just avoid it. Also, if you see life recovery reduced by 60% on a map, you cannot do those. Just sell them. Do not run them. You will die. Your survivability is coming from your life regen. See, I have 760 life per second with about 3k life, so it's pretty important to have that, especially since your totems are costing 560 life per totem. When you're spamming them, you can see your life goes down pretty quick, but you know, you only need to put 3 totems out at a time. I usually just throw one like that as I'm running through a map, so you don't really notice your health spiking too much. And the rest of your gear is pretty basic, you know, movement speed, resistance, armor. Life regen is pretty important on gear if you can get it. The chest piece is a piece that's kind of weird because there's the steel plate, which steel plate has an implicit that gives you 1.5 to 2.5 of life per second, of your max life per second. So this is like the biggest life recovery thing you could get from your passives or gear or anywhere, is getting that implicit. So try to get a steel plate. Getting one like this is going to cost you quite a bit. I kind of got lucky here. I bought one with 5 stats and I slammed like the flat armor, I think, or the armor percent. I can't remember. So, you know, it's pretty basic stuff here. You want max life, you want life regen, you want your resists. You could do that any way you want. I personally, for chaos resist, I get chaos resist on my helm and chaos resist on my belt because it's kind of easy to do that. You don't necessarily have to get life regen on these pieces. So just with those 2 pieces, the 10 chaos res from the quest you get, and socketing your 3 pieces of gear, your helm, your gloves, and your boots with 7% chaos resistance, that'll get you above 75%. You just kind of got to work out the numbers with how much you need on your belt, how much you need on your helm, but it's going to be around like 22, 23% chaos res on each. I think that's like the cheapest way to go. On your body armor, you do want to use the armor increased runes, the 20% increased armor. So you get 40% increased armor on your chest. And another reason why this is important is because in the passive tree, you're using this passive 80% increased armor from equipped body armor. So it really adds up there, and that's how I'm at 77% armor. So yeah, the 77% armor, and then like, you know, 80, 83, 75, all my resists are pretty high. Still could get higher with jewels and a couple passives in the tree. And yeah, that's about it. You don't need a mana pot with this build, but I don't really feel like seeing an empty slot there, so I think that just about covers it, guys. Yeah, so I've been streaming again on Twitch, twitch.tv/ChainOfFails. If you want to come by, if you have any questions or you just want to say what's up, I'll be there. I stream a few hours a day. I might start streaming more. I don't know. Depends if you guys come hang out or not. But yeah, till next time, see you guys later.